Now joined by Inter Miami head coach Phil Neville. If you have a question in the room, please raise your hand. Before asking the questions, state your name and your outlet. We'll get started with the press conference now. First question, Michelle Kaufman, then Austin.
Is there a mic or no?
No mic.
Okay. Phil, I guess if you could just assess the game. I mean, it was scoreless at halftime and then second half, obviously.
Yeah, I think we had our chances first half. Obviously, Gonzalo scored. We don't think it should have been disallowed, but probably have to look at it from another angle. I felt second half we made three real key errors, and then you'd say that we were well beaten. And I think when you play in games of this magnitude, I think mistakes are going to cost you. Individual mistakes cost you, and concentration and discipline are a real big part of competing in these types of games. And what I've said to the team is that, I think they know now what it takes to get into the playoffs, but more importantly, they now know what it takes to perform in a playoff game. I think that's the biggest thing now, the extra 20% that we need to improve to this team for next season. They've had a great learning experience tonight, even though it hurts, even though we're all emotional. I don't think I've been in a dressing room that's probably as emotional than what we've just been in. We've shared some really emotional moments in there with Gonzalo, who obviously is coming to the end of an incredible career. And probably the way he feels is probably the way we all feel in terms of the emotions, the upset, the tears, because we really felt that we had a chance. And, I think it's a great learning experience for some of the players on that pitch to say, right, well, I need to in the off season, I need to work even harder than what I've been doing. I need to concentrate better than what I'm doing. I need to come back next season and be even better, because the second season is always more difficult than the first, because now people know what these players can do. So I felt the first half we were competing. There was moments when I thought we had really good moments. In the second half, I didn't think we had those moments. And, I think if you're leaving the game, you're probably thinking that Inter Miami was well beaten in the second half, and probably rightly so. It's probably my view of the game.
We'll go to Austin, then Chris Whittingham.
Austin Rollbar, Sports.
Austin.
In terms of the game plan, what went into the decision to ditch the diamond in midfield that was so successful over the last couple games? Do you feel like it left some of the attacking players in isolation, wasn't able to string together passes in the box, only 3 shots inside the box? What went into the offense?
I think we the diamond was really was probably designed because of Campagna and Gonzalo, and obviously we played Montreal last week, and I think the system probably in terms of in possession was fine, but out of possession I thought we got exposed, and I didn't want us to get exposed early on in the game. And I felt that with Ariel and Robert Taylor in wide areas, it was almost back to the system that the players enjoy playing the most, which is 4-3-3, where we've had most of our best performances. Speed in wide areas, controlling the middle of the field with Pozuelo and Motta and Gregory. So it wasn't really that big a decision for us to make. It was just making sure that we got the right players in the right moments. And there was a couple of players that got left out that were probably a little bit unlucky. Bryce Duke, Ryan Saylor maybe probably felt as if they probably deserved to start. Bryce in particular, and he probably did, but the system didn't allow that. So no, I think that's the reason why.
Chris Whittingham.
Chris Whittingham from Miami.
I was just curious, now that it is the end of the line for Gonzalo Higuain, what he's meant to Inter Miami for these 2.5 years, and sort of what your perspective is now that it's over.
Well, I think we've just gone through something in there with him in terms of we've had real difficult moments. He's had real difficult moments when a lot has been questioned of him, a lot has been aimed at him, and his form probably wasn't as good as what it should have been. But what we said to him is that he's leaving in exactly the right way that he should be leaving, with the goals that he scored, the happiness in which he's played, the way that he's embraced his teammates and carried his teammates is exactly what we expect and expected. And I think he can be massively proud. It's a massive adaptation period for any footballer to come to the MLS, particularly when you've played in Europe in the Champions League, to come here. And I think it's a big learning curve for people when you think it's going to be easy, and it's not. This is the hardest league in the world to adapt to because of everything that goes with it. And it took time for him to adapt. You know, people forget last season he was still our top goal scorer, top assist maker. He didn't have the players around him last season that he had this season. He didn't have the team around him last season. You've got to have a team, you know, and this season we've got a team, and he's prospered and helped that team. So I'm proud to have managed him. I think as a club, we're proud to have had him as our first ever DP, one of our first ever DPs alongside Pizarro. He leaves in, I think, a good moment. He leaves in a good moment. He helped us get to the playoffs, and he can now enjoy his retirement. And we wish him all the best, and he'll always be welcome.
We've got a question here. Then David Gass of MLS.
Phil, John Lupo from Vavel. Just to follow up on that, just your own personal thoughts about coaching Gonzalo. What makes him so special? What qualities he has that make him the player and the person that he is, and the legacy that he leaves with the club, and some things maybe you can take from him that you can use with the club going forward?
Well, I think when you look at the career that he's had, his biggest thing is obviously his goal scoring, but his durability to play game after game after game. And that's, you know, I always say to the guys in there, Gonzalo never has a day off training. You know, you come in nowadays with sports science, so it's match day -2, recovery and all that business. And he trains every single day. He trains like a lion every single day. And that's, you know, even through the moments that were difficult, he trained every single day, and he never lost that hunger to train. And that's the biggest thing you have. You know, and you know, I looked at him at the end, and you know, for the last probably when the third goal in, the champion went from him, and that's understandable. And that was probably what made me emotional watching him. Is that, you know, we've had a champion, I've coached a champion, we've played and trained with a champion every single day. An incredible example of durability, quality of goals, the ability to play to the very last whistle, ability to inspire your team. So I hope that people like Bryce and Indiana and Lassiter, I think they learn, you know, from that.
Obviously ended earlier than you wanted, but now playoff game loss. What was this season? What do you feel you've proven? Your story is for Inter Miami coming out of the year.
I think the players have been unbelievable, but we want better. We want better. I think we want to win. We want to challenge. We want to go deep into the playoffs. We want to get to finals. We want to get to semi-finals. We want to finish in the top 4. We want a whole playoff. So we can't stand still. You know, my feeling that the final whistle was one of that. Is like where can we take this team? How can we improve? Because really, you know, finishing in 6th isn't success. Finishing 6th isn't success in my eyes anyway. And, you know, for us to be really successful, we needed to play a home playoff game. We need to get at home. We need to get people back to drive pink, because if we'd have had drive pink, I think we would have won the game. Not saying against New York City, but it would have given us a really good chance to win the game. So that's our aim. We've got to get home playoffs. We've got to challenge for the supporters shield, and we've got to win trophies. And, you know, I'd say that this is probably just a baby step forward from where we was last season. You know, it's a baby step forward. I think we've changed the way that people look at Inter Miami. I think that was important. There was a lot of negativity around the club, and now I think people are looking at us slightly different, but still a long way to go. We've still got a lot of improvement to do, and that's the challenge ahead for everyone, because the teams that finish in the top 7 this year, the fine line between us and Columbus or us and Chicago is very fine. Do you know what I mean? It's very fine. You know, it's 1 win, it's 1 point, it's a goal. And the team that finishes second bottom can easily win the league next year. So we've got to be ready for that.
Franco Panizo and Jose Rodriguez. Franco first.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Phil. Building on that last question, obviously you guys exceeded outside expectations. You guys made the playoffs, and you built a team as opposed to last year where it was a fragmented group. But overall, on the balance, like you just mentioned, it was an up and down year. You guys were very good at home, not so good away from home. Relied on your goal scorers to score, your two strikers, but not a whole lot of goals from other departments. Started game slowly, but finished very well in a lot of games. So what do you do next? How does this team take that next step? What do you have to do? You just touched on what you want them to do, but how do you go about building that group, given that you guys will still have some sanctions next year?
Well, I think we've obviously got Gonzalo retiring, which is goals. You think about 14, 15, 16 goals that we have to replace. We've got a big season ahead. We've got some big important decisions to make. You look at NYC tonight. They're back. Two of their back three were DPs with it, or the goalkeeper's probably a DP. Their front line's probably DPs. So they've invested heavily in their group. And that's took time to develop that group, and you got TAM and DP players all over their pitch. So we just need to build on what we've got now, and then add in the bits that are going to help us be successful. And the bits that help you be successful in this league are DPs, investments in DPs, investments in goals, investments in bringing in the guys that are going to keep scoring goals at the top end. Which I say that's the most important thing. I think we've proven that we can compete with anyone in this league on any single day. And now it's about adding, last year we added 19 players. I'd say that if we added 3 players of real quality, that would make us a challenger for the top 4 in my eyes. So that's what I always think that when you're able to top 3 players, you're looking in a market that's very, very thin, rather than when you're looking for 19 players, you've probably got thousands of players in the world to look for. When you're looking for the top end players, you're talking 5-6 players looking at that everybody's looking at. So the challenge player that's going to help get better, and I feel as if that's now the top end of the roster, which is the quality bits. The three players of real quality, real match winners that can go into our starting 11 and really improve us.
Last question, Jose Rodriguez.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, my question is in regards to substitutions tonight, and especially after you guys conceded. What was the plan to get back in the game? Because you bring you bring Kieran Gibbs and Sailor in, and at the 80th minute, Bryce Duke. What was the plan for you guys to get back in this game?
Well, we needed to change the centre backs, because I thought they both looked tired. I thought we needed freshness. Kieran Gibbs came on to I wanted DeAndre and Kieran to really bomb forward. We were obviously without Campana. Emerson Rodriguez wasn't with us. We were short of attacking up front, really. So Bryce coming on was to get as many goal scorers on the pitch as possible. That was it, really.
That concludes.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a good off season.